Hello students, in today's session, we are going to take some information about the list in Python. So what is a list and how to do various operations on the list, that we are going to see. I have already done one small program, and from the point of that program, we are going to see the different functionalities that we can perform on the list. Now, let us say that I do have this list with me. This is what the list with me. List A. List A contains some number of elements. Let us say 10, 20, 30, 3.14 and Pune. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements are there. The total number of elements are 5 in this case. So I need to check length of the list. So there is one standard function known as len, and you need to pass the parameter to that function, that is name of the list. So when I say length A, I should get the value equal to the number of elements inside the list. So in this case, it is 5. So here I'm getting 5 as the output. Now I want to check. Some of you might be knowing about the arrays in C, arrays in C++. So similarly, we can have the indices to the elements of the list, indices associated with the elements of the list. Suppose I say 10. So the index of the 10 is always 0. Index of 20 will be 1, index of 30 will be 2, and so on. So index of 3.14 will be 3, index of Pune will be 4. So these are the indices. If I want to access Pune, then I can say the name of the list and the corresponding index. So in this case, 4 is the index of Pune. So I will get value equal to Pune in that case. So this will be the value that I can get. Now, if you see here, I want to check what is the value that is placed at 0th index inside the list. So we can have the value a of 0 equals to 10. So this is what the value. Look at this thing. So a of 0 equals to 10. Now, there is one interesting facility that is provided in the list. Suppose list is there with me. I will say that B is the list with me. So I will say it contains some elements 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the number of elements. So as per this policy, we can say that we have shown the positive indices of the list. That is 10 is at 0th location, 20 is at first location, 30 is at second location, likewise. Similarly, this positive index, as per this positive indices, we can retrieve any value. But if I want to, if I don't know the list length of the list, suppose consider that the list contains 100 elements, 500 elements, and I want to check without knowing the index of the last element, I want to check what is the value in the last element of the list. So for that, negative indexing mechanism is also provided in the list. So always the last element is denoted by -1. Once in -1 index, second last element is at -2 index, third last element is -3 index, this one, the next element is at -4th index. So if I want to check the value, which value is present at the last element, then I can use the index -1 here. So here, if you see what we are trying to check here, the element, second last element inside the list, which is shown by the index -2. In this case, suppose second last element is 3 over here, right? So similarly, in this list, if we see in this list, second last element is 3.14. So I should get the value equal to 3.14 as an output. So indexing is positive indexing as well as negative indexing. So positive indexing goes from left to right, okay, and negative indexing goes from right to left. So it goes from right to left in this direction. So that you need to remember. The third important function or the next important function is type. So what is type? So there are various data structures inside Python, like list is there, tuple is there, dictionary is there, various data structures are there. So if I want to check which type of data structure is this, then that time there is an inbuilt function known as type, which gives us the type of the data structure. When I say type of A, so I should get the type of that data structure here. As we are learning list, this is a special lecture on list, so we are getting the type of A as a list. Now, let us move ahead. We will go to the new topic known as list slicing. So now let us look what is list slicing and what is the use of that. Now we know that the content of list A is this thing, right? This is the content of the list. We are using the earlier list only. One important point that we need to remember here, the list can contain any number of elements, any number of elements, and these number of elements or these elements can have heterogeneous data type. Data type can be heterogeneous in the sense the list may contain integer values, the list may contain float values, the list may contain string values also, and list may contain anything, list may contain list also. Okay, so any number of elements can be there and they can be of heterogeneous data types. So here if you see this list, this is what integer value, this is what float value, and this is what a string value. Okay, so now that is the speciality of list. But in C++ or C's array, the elements that we store inside the array are always of same data type. If you know C or CPP, you might be able to relate that. So the arrays or the elements can be of same data type. Now let us see new topic known as slicing of the list. So what is slicing of the list? So we'll see slicing of the list. Now here you might have seen that we have given one bracket, and in that bracket we have written something like 1:4:1. So what is that? That is called as slicing of the element, slicing of the list. Sometimes we need to take some elements from the list or part of the list uh, in which we are interested for doing some operations. So if we see that, if I say A, then bracket, then we can say that this is the starting element, this is the end element, and this is what we can say that increment operator, increment. So here in this case, when I say 1, we need to start from the first element of the list, then we need to go, suppose here 4 is there, we need to go till fourth element, but this is not included. It means that we will go from element 1 to 3. We will not include fourth element inside the resultant list. And doing that, we need to check by how much size we need to increment we need to take the next step. Suppose it is 1, then we can take like 1, 2 and 3 element. Suppose it is 2, then we can take first element and directly third element. The gap between these two elements will be of 2. Suppose we say this is 3, so we will take only one element and then we can go directly to the fourth element. But fourth element we are not going to include inside our result, because the last index is 4, which is never included. So in that case we will print only the first element. So let us see this thing, how it works. Now if we see list A 141 here, right? So this is what the 0th index, first index, second index, third index and fourth index. So the first element or the first index is associated with 20. So in output 20 will be there. Then we need to go till 4, right? 4 is this thing. So we are not going to include this element as this is the last element. Then the increment or the step size is of 1. If you see this thing, it is 1. So after 20, okay, till the fourth index come, okay, so we need to take all the elements with the increment of 1. So we will take 30 also, and we will take 3.14 also. So these will be the three elements inside the result. If I say A is the list and we want to slice it like 0 to, we can say 5, 5 colon, we want to take increment of 2. So what will happen? So we will start from 0th index, that is element number 10. The step size or the increment will be of 2. After 0, we are not going to take this 20. We will directly go to 30. We will check what is the index of 30. It is 2. So we can include it because it is less than 5. Again, the increment will be by 2. So we will directly go to Pune. So what is the index of Pune? It is 4. It is 4, right? So we will include that Pune also. So our output will be like this, and then the end of the list will be there. So then only these three elements will be there inside the in the output value or the in the result. So similarly, now let us see this thing, the next thing, right? So in this case, if you see 0 to 4, from where we are starting, we are starting 0 to 0. In between, you just observe the things. We have not written anything. So end value is not specified. Whenever the end value or the end index is not specified, it means we need to traverse the list till its end, right? So the 0th index element in this case will be 10. We will take that. Increment will be of 4. Look at this thing, 4 is there. So 0, then we will skip this thing, we will skip this thing, we will skip this thing, and the fourth element will be after 10 will be Pune. So we will write Pune over here. So we can say here Pune, Pune. Okay. Now after that, after visiting Pune, the next fourth element we need to search, but this is what the end of the list. So we will not get any further element, and our output will be restricted to these two values only. Okay. Now let us see this thing, this example. So A, we are starting from 0th index. We are going to the last element of the list as we have not specified any condition over here, and we need to have the step size equal to length of list minus 1. What is length of list here? Length of list, as we have seen earlier, the list contains 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 elements. So the length of the list is 5, and we are subtracting 1 from the length of the list. So the step size or the increment size will be 4 in this case. So again, if we write it in proper way, we can say that we'll start from 0th location, we will go till end of the list, and the increment in this case will be 4. So it is exactly similar to this case which we have seen earlier, and we know the output for this case or the result in this case is exactly similar. Now look at this thing. This is very interesting. So what is this? A is starting and all this stuff. Just give me 1 second, guys. I will erase the content. Okay. Now look at this thing. This thing we are seeing. Here, this is the list. We are starting from fourth location. Okay, we are starting from fourth location. Give me. We are starting from fourth location, and the increment operation or the step size is -2 over here. It is -2, right? So from fourth location, so when we say the indexes, so I will say that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So fourth index is here, right? So we are at the rightmost position of the list. Now from that we need to take step size of -2. So from fourth location, step size of -2 will be 30. Okay. And then look at this thing. Here nothing is specified. End condition is not given. So we need to traverse the entire list. So after 30, the next -2 step will be like 10. So output will be first of all Pune at fourth location. Then we are giving the step size of -2. Then it will be 30. And from 30 again step size is -2. So we can say that 10. So this will be my output. So if you look at this thing, this is exactly same as the output that we got. So these are some examples of slicing the list. So let us move ahead and see the next point, list mutability. So now this is the common word that you may see with respect to list. So it is said that lists are mutable. So what is mutable list? What is mutability? Mutability in the sense, or mutation in the sense, or mutable is the sense, the thing that we can change. Okay. So here, if we see, if we have a list, I'll show it to you. This is the list that we do have, right? So in this list earlier we were having elements equal to something, mm, something 10, 20, 30, 3.14 and Pune. This was the earlier list, right? Which we have used. Now in this list, now we want to change the element at 0th location. This is what the element at 0th location. So earlier the value of the element was 10, but now I want to change this value. So I will say the name of the list is A and the index that I want to change, 0th index. This is what 0th index. This is first, second, third and fourth. I want to change the element at 0th index. So I will say A of 0 equal to 200. So what will happen with that? It will directly replace the value 10 by 200. So my final or resultant list will be, my 200 will be there, then 20 will be there, 30 will be there, 3.14 will be there, and then Pune will be there. So this will be my final list. Now, guys, this is very important topic, or this is very important point, because some data structures in Python supports mutability, some data structures do not support mutability. So that's why we can say that lists are mutable. There is one more data structure which is known as tuple. So tuple is never mutable, or we cannot mutate the values of the elements inside the tuple. This is just for the information. Please remember this. Now we will see the next point, that is list is iterable. So how the lists are iterable? Iterable in the sense you can traverse through the list. You can traverse through the list. Now look at this thing. You might have seen for loop in C and CPP. Similarly, the for loop is given over here, right? If the list contains values, our list contains values 200, 20, 30, 3.14 and Pune. These were the values inside our list. Obviously, the last value is a string value. So quotes are required in this case, right? So this is what my list A. I want to go through this list and I want to print all the values inside the list. Okay. So element by element, I will traverse the list. So I will say that for element, for element, for element in list A. Okay. And we are going to print the value of every element. Okay. So what will happen with that? Inside the list A, it will take first element, then it will print the element, then it will take second element, then again it will print the element, then it will take third element, then again it will print the element. So for loop, okay, basic execution of the for loop will be like this. It will traverse the list element by element, and every time the value of this element 200 will come inside the element variable, then we will print the value of 200, then we will shift here, then 20 will be in the element variable, then we will print the value of 20, again we will move forward, 30 will come and we will print 30 likewise. So we will print all elements of the list in the same way, right? Now let us see the next interesting example, what we are doing here, right? So here what we are doing here, right? So here what we are doing, we are taking every element from list B which is specified over here, and we are taking square root of that element. In Python, if we want to take square root of anything, so you do have this operator with us, right? 2 raised to 2, this is what 2 raised to 2, answer is 4. If I want to take 3 raised to 2, so I can use this operator, 3 raised to 2, so answer is 9, something like that. This is right square operator. So we can find out square of any element with the help of this double star operator, right? So similarly here we are visiting to each and every element of the list, and then we are taking square of the element. So look at this, here I am getting 144 which is square of 12, here I am getting 169 which is square of 13, 196 square of 14, 225 square of 15, 400 square of 20, and 625 as square of 25. So in that case we are we are visiting each and every element of the list, we are going element of the list, and we are printing the corresponding squares of that particular elements of the list. Okay, so this is what one more example of iterable list. We are iterating through the list and we are performing some operations on the list. So now let us go ahead and see what are the different things that we can do on the list. So now look at this example, very interesting example. Here we are going through each and every element of the list, and we are checking whether the element is even or not. We know that if 10 is there and if we take mod 2 of 10, so the remainder value we get is equal to 0. If 12 is there, if we take mod 2, so the value of remainder value that we get is 0. If the value we are getting as 0, we can say that this is even number. But if 13 is there and mod 13 mod 2 if I do, then I get remainder is equal to 1. Okay, if 5 is there, if I divide 5 by 2, the remainder is always equal to 1. In this case, here these are odd numbers, but if we are getting remainder as 0, then we can say that these are even numbers. So these are even numbers, these are odd numbers. So we just want to print the elements which are even. So if I say 10 mod or 100 mod 2, and if I check remainder, and if the remainder is equal to 0, we can say that the number is even, right? The same strategy is applied over here. We are checking each and every element present inside the list, and if we are getting remainder as 0 by doing mod 2 operation, right? So we can say that that particular element, only even element we will get over here inside the if case, and we will print only the even elements inside the list. So what we are doing, we are iterating through the list and we are just printing the values of even elements. Now consider that if we want to print the elements which are odd, right? So how we are going to print those elements? So for that we will say that for element in list B, okay, if element mod 2 not equal to 0, or rather if you want it in another way, I will say is if I will say is equal to 1, then we can say that print element. So what will happen with that? It will print the odd values. Let us take one example. If I say 141, if I divide 141 by 2, it will be 2 sevens are 14, 0, 1, 2 0 is 0, 1. So remainder in this case is 1. If I take 13 and if I divide it by 2, 2 6 are 12, remainder is 1, remainder is 1. So here remainder is 1, the condition will be fulfilled and we will print the value of the element. So similarly, you can try out many things. So here we have seen that the list is iterable. Now let's go ahead and see the various list functions. So few basic functions which we use in day-to-day routine that we are going to discuss. This is what the list that we have taken now. Okay, I said append operation, append operation. So there are two important operations. Sometimes people get confused in that. First one is append and second one is extend. So we will see both these operations, what append is and what extend is slowly. If I say a 10, 20, 30, and if I say append 40, then this 40 will get appended at the end of the list after the last element of the list. So after 30, that 40 should get appended. So if you see the result, then it is 10, 20, 30, 40. Now, this is what adding the element at the end of the list. But what happens if what will happen if I want to add element in between the list? So a list is there, suppose it contains 10, 20, 30, and I want to add element here somewhere, right? So how to add the element here somewhere, right? So this is what zeroth index, this is what first index, this is what second index. I want to add element at first index, right? So how we will do that? So here in this case, uh, we need to specify the index of the list. So here it is 1. So I am appending value, or I am inserting value 1 at this index, first index. I am inserting value Pune at index 1. So my output will be A at first index. I am inserting value Pune. So this is what Pune, and then the remaining values will be added inside the list or will be kept as it is. So now this is what zeroth index, first index, second index, and third index. Look at this. We have added Pune at the first index. Whatever the location we are specifying here, as per the location, we can add a value inside that particular index. So if I want to add element at second index, what should I do? I will say a dot insert, then second position, and I will say suppose Mumbai. If this is my list, then the resultant output will be, we can say 10 will be there, zeroth index element, first index element is 20, then it will be Mumbai, and then it will be 30. So this will be my resultant output, right? So by doing the insert operation at this second position. Now, similarly, we can remove element from the list. I said I want to remove Pune from the list. So I will use remove function a dot remove, which will remove Pune from the list. So now I will get this list. Pune is removed. Pune is removed. Now I want to pop element from the list. Which element I want to pop? I want to pop the element at second position. So this 30 I want to pop. So I will say a dot pop 2, that 2 is the index of the element that which we want to pop. So I will get 30 is popped, and I will get 10, 20, and 40. So these are some functions associated with the list. So along with that, we can check how many 20 are there inside the list. Okay, suppose my list contains, we can say that the elements like A is the list, and list A contains suppose 10, 10, 20, 30, 10, 40, 50. I don't know how many elements are there inside the list, but I want to check how many times this 10 appeared inside the list. So there is one function which is known as count, and we need to pass which elements count we want to search, right? Or we want to get. So here I want to get the count of how many count of 10, that is how many times 10 came inside the list. So I will say that a dot count 10, and then depending on that I will get the value equal to 3, because 10 is appeared one time, two time, and three times. Three times 10 appeared in this list. Okay, so similarly we have found the value of this 20 here, we have found the value of 100 over here inside the list. Similarly, we can clear all the elements from the list. So for that, clear function is there. When we apply clear function, the list get cleared and nothing remains inside the list. Even though after clearing the list, if we print the value of a, value of list, or the content of the list, so that time we get clear list. So there are few more functionalities such as reverse. So we can reverse the content of the list. Okay, so this is my list. After applying reverse functionality, the content will get reversed. Look at this thing. Earlier 9 was the last element. Now 9 is the first element. 8 was the second last element. Now here 8 is the second element, and likewise. Sometimes we need to sort the list. So for that, a sort function is there, which is inbuilt function. So if we apply sort function, then we will get the sorted list. Okay, so this is very interesting. Reverse equal to true. We are sorting the list, but in the reverse way. Okay, that is like here we were sorted the list in ascending order. So 3 is there, 5 is there, but here we are sorting the list by descending order. Whenever we will say reverse parameter of sort function becomes true, then the list is sorted into the descending order. So these are some functionalities which are very important from the list point of view. Guys, I hope that you might have liked this session, and hope that you will explore the concept of the list to more extent. So that's it in today's session. Thank you.